Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Pi Day of Giving virtual speaker series event. Today's topic is Engineering Education Reimagined. Before we begin today's session, I'd like to start with a brief land acknowledgement of the traditional territory in which we are gathering today. Our university campus is situated on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas, a branch of the Greater Anishinaabe Nation, which includes Algonquin, Ojibwe, Adawa, and Potawatomi. Because everybody is turning in with us remotely across a variety of cities, we don't want to forgo this important element of reconciliation. So I'd like to ask everyone to take a moment to reflect on the traditional territory that you're on, the treaty that it's covered under, and your own personal relationship with the land. As a university community, we are dedicated to continue our awareness, our understanding, and our gratitude for the lands we share. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Jody Cowan, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator here at Ontario Tech University. Today is the fourth of 10 sessions we're hosting with our Ontario Tech experts to share their research and to spread the word about our Pi Day of Giving. These are meant to help to raise funds for our Student Relief Fund, which help our students who are experiencing financial need due to COVID-19. And I'd like to take a moment just to thank those of you who made a gift when registering for today's session. So there will be time for Q&As following today's presentation. Please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen at any point during the presentation, and we will do our best to get to them all. These sessions are being recorded, as you can see, and they will be posted on our website, so you can watch it later or you can share with friends who are unable to make it with us live today. I'd now like to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Qusay Mahmood from our Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science. Hello, Dr. Mahmood. Dr. Mahmoud is the Associate Dean in Experiential Learning and Engineering Outreach and a professor in the Department of Electrical, Computer, and Software Engineering. His current research interests are intelligent software systems and cybersecurity. Dr. Mahmoud, or Dr. Q, as his students affectionately call him, his teaching experience spans more than 20 years at 4 higher education institutions here in Canada. His teaching fosters critical thinking and problem solving and imparts students lifelong learning skills and revolves around his life commitment as a second-generation educator to serve students and affect societal change. So we're so pleased to have Dr. Q here with us today. Please take it away.
Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Have you ever wondered why we may feel we are good at learning things such as sports and not good at others like math? Without getting into the business of the brain, David Kolb, the developer of experiential learning theory, calls this a characteristic that reinforces a fixed self. Other examples include avoidance of risks and failures. Instead, we must build characteristics that reinforce a learning self. We must trust our abilities to learn from experience, seek new experiences and challenges, and learn from our mistakes, because this is the essence of experiential learning. I believe we can learn almost anything. We just need better learning strategies and not give up when getting stuck. Instead, ask deeper questions and find meaningful answers and keep pushing through obstacles. But we all learn in different ways. We all have different learning styles. Research shows that teachers teach the way they learn. But the idea of fixed versus growth or flexible mindset is very important. And research show that by simply pointing out the idea to students, students are compelled to take notice of it and make efforts to change. So the essence of experiential learning is to learn from our own experience. So let me start with an example. A few years ago, I was teaching a course on Introduction to Programming for Engineers. This is about coding. Coding today is the lingua franca of the digital world, and it must be taught next to the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. So in that course, this is the slide I have used at the end of the first lecture in order to encourage students to show up for class, come to the tutorials, and come to my office hours in case they have any issues. So when I displayed this slide, a student raised his hand and asked, Dr. Q, can you provide us with an example of a question that can't be answered by Google? I thought about this for a second, and then I told the class, wait until you see assignment number 1. I put countless hours to come up with an assignment that does not have solutions available online. Some students struggled to develop a solution for the assignment, and I ended up with very bad course evaluations. But that was a good learning experience for me. We all learn from our own experiences. And then I realized, our jobs as professors are being transformed. Our job is no longer to show up in class and deliver content, because that content is available online in much better format in many cases. So our job is being transformed from delivering content in the classroom to design and learning experiences. When we design learning experiences for our students, they must be relevant, that allow students to experience that experience, participate in that experience, and apply that experience to different contexts. When I design learning experiences for my students, I emphasize on the engineering design process. So as you can see from this diagram, it all starts with a question. Students need to learn how to ask the right questions and then brainstorm different ideas and then imagine solutions. As you can see, it's an iterative process. The engineering design process is so powerful that today, one of the buzzwords in business and entrepreneurship is design thinking. Well, this here is the foundation of design thinking. When I design learning experiences for my students, I try to emphasize on the idea of convergent versus divergent thinking. In convergent thinking, we ask the students to find a single answer to a problem. Think about multiple choice questions. In divergent thinking, we encourage the students with creative generation of ideas. So the engineering design process is really important for addressing open-ended problems. And this is what we try to encourage our engineering students to do. If you are an educator and you would like to figure out what kind of educator you are, I highly recommend that you take the CULP Educator Profile Test. It takes about half an hour to go through the questions, and then they provide you with a very insightful assessment. So if you have your phone handy, grab your phone, open your camera, and scan this QR code so that you can do the test later on. I'm going to leave it here for about 10 seconds. All right, so now I would like to show you a couple of examples that I have developed with my students. Learning experiences that I have developed for my students in my classes. The first one is from winter 2020. I was teaching a course in cloud computing, and whenever I teach third or fourth year courses, I try to integrate a project into the course. Projects are really very important because they allow students to frame their ideas or to contextualize their ideas in the framework of the existing knowledge and then imagine new solutions. So this was a project from my cloud computing course. I provided the students with an idea to develop a competency-based portfolio creation tool. So the idea is to help engineers and others using this tool to document their competencies, professional competencies, so that it will be easier to find a co-op job. So the name of the system now is called Competence.one. You can visit us online and learn more about this service. So after they presented the project at the end of the winter semester, I noticed that it was a really good idea, and we should take it to the next level. So we signed up with the Brilliant Catalyst program on campus, which basically provides introduction to entrepreneurship, how to start a business, and so on. So I encourage the students to sign up for the program. They were accepted into the program, and it really helped them to experience what does it mean to be creative and innovative. I highly encourage all of our students to take part into this program because it does allow them to develop a different mindset. So yes, the traditional path from this is to start to do a startup, but more importantly, that experience is going to be so valuable for employers, because employers love employees with creative and innovative mindsets, because at the end of the day, they are going to develop value-added services and products. So as you can see, the students were very successful, and they have won a couple of prizes from different pitch competitions. Here is another example. So this is an example from distributed systems. It's a course I taught last semester to fourth-year students in the software engineering program. Once again, I do integrate projects into my courses. This group of students, given what was happening with the US elections at the time in fall 2020, they decided to pursue the idea of using blockchain for voting. So they developed this idea, election block, using blockchain and fingerprint authentication. So they have developed some very interesting project, and the report from that project, we have turned it into a research paper that has been accepted at a conference happening in Germany in 3 weeks. So the students will be presenting and demoing what they have done to at that conference. So again, these are undergraduate students. I think undergraduate research, entrepreneurship, developing creative and innovative mindsets, it's really going to help students to learn things that machines can't. Now we are living in the age of artificial intelligence and automation, and this is going to wipe out many labor-intensive jobs. But the students who have the creative mindset will be able to do things that AI can't. So with this, let me move on to tell you a bit about how we are preparing our students to be future-oriented and socially responsible engineers. So the mission of Ontario Tech University is to provide superior lifelong learning experiences, and this is done through a number of strategic priorities, such as Tech with a Conscience, Learning Reimagined, Creating a Sticky Campus, and Partnerships. In the interest of time, I'm only going to focus on one, Tech with a Conscience. All right, so here is an article that was published in Consumers Report last year, and basically it's about crash test dummies. You might be surprised, but it wasn't until 2002 that a pregnant crash test dummy virtual simulation was developed at Volvo, and it was developed by a female mechanical engineer. Here is another example of a racist algorithm. So Google Photos included an algorithm to tag photos that you have in your mobile device. And look at this. It was tagging Black faces as gorillas. So these are prime examples of where Tech with Conscience can allow us to solve some of these problems in order to prepare future-oriented engineers who are socially responsible. So in my courses, I try to focus on project-based learning. This is very important because students will be able to work in teams, develop some professional skills about team building and communication, but also more importantly, they will be able to find out what are the requirements for the project. So imagine if there are diversified projects that have males, female students, and so on. These students will need to develop user stories. These user stories revolve around who is going to be using this technology. What do they look like? How will they be using this technology? So the more diversified the team is, the more innovative the product is going to be. So I strongly believe that diversity is going to drive innovation in engineering. They will also be able to consider ethical and safety considerations for their product. If you would like to see some of the innovative projects that our students are working on in electrical and software engineering, we are holding a virtual expo on Friday, April the 9th. So once again, if you have your phone ready, open your camera and scan this QR code, and you will be able to register for the virtual expo. So I'll leave it here for 15 seconds. All right, some of the ideas that I have presented came from these 3 textbooks. And I would like to mention that March is National Engineering Month. This is Canada's largest celebration of engineering excellence. If you would like to learn more, go to exploreengineering.ca. Also, I would like to mention that we do offer a large number of programs for schools as well as for teachers who are interested in professional development in coding, the engineering design process, and so on.
As I mentioned earlier, this is our 4th annual Pi Day of Giving, where we celebrate the infinite possibilities for our students here at Ontario Tech. This year has been difficult for everyone, and although we were able to switch to virtual learning within 1 day, we are really excited to get back on campus with our students soon. But our students really do need help more than ever, and I would really like everyone here to support our Student Relief Fund today to help students who have experiencing financial need due to unexpected or lost jobs due to COVID-19. All gifts will be matched dollar for dollar by the university, and thank you again to those of you who made gifts when registering today. I am pleased to share that we've already given out $400,000 to students in addition to a regular scholarship and bursary program. In that vein, I'd like to also thank Kemp Travel Group for their generous sponsorship of today's Pi Day of Giving speaker series. I hope all of you will continue spending your lunch hour with us again tomorrow and next week, where we have more amazing speakers like Dr. Mahmoud joining us to share their research. You can find out more details on who those speakers will be are on our website at ontariotechu.ca/Pi Day. Thank you again, Dr. Mahmoud, for joining us. And before we say goodbye, I'd like to share a short message from our students here at Ontario Tech, demonstrating the infinite possibilities that they're going to make on the world. Thanks so much.
On March 14th, you can help support my dreams.
Knowledge is infectious, and my dream is to teach.
My dream is to educate young students about the benefits of physical activity so that they can adopt these practices into their daily lives.
My goal is to contribute to innovative technologies that leave a lasting impact on society.
On Pi Day, join our circle and support students like me.
I want to help save people from natural disasters.
I want to be part of engineering projects that help make tech be your best friend.
I want to develop technology to aid in space exploration.
I aspire to design aerodynamic race cars to shape the future of Formula One racing.
Just like the values of Pi, opportunities for students like me are endless, so join us.